Hi, good morning, everyone, and thanks for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity to speak in front of you. My name is Ofer Sharon. I'm the CEO of OncoHost. OncoHost is developing biomarkers for immunotherapy. The reason we focus on biomarkers for immunotherapy is very simple. There are no good biomarkers for immunotherapy today. What we have is PD-L1, and to some extent TMB. I would say low accuracy for those, not very predictive, some prognostic element to those. And if we look at the current market, we will see that as we speak, there are 6,000 ongoing clinical trials looking at immunotherapy or immunotherapy combined with something. And if we look at the right-hand side of this very busy slide, we can see that basically every tumor type is treated or will be treated in the near future with immunotherapy, and with pretty moderate outcomes. We are talking about 20 to 40% who are benefiting from treatment. Some would say that this is an overestimation. And we are looking at the very near future where clinicians are going to have a lot of choice and very little guidance on how to treat their patients. OncoHost developed the Prophet platform. The Prophet platform combines machine learning, proteomic pattern recognition in the plasma, and system biology. It's basically one blood test taken before treatment, liquid biopsy, that supports clinical decision-making. The way we at OncoHost develop product is by focusing first on the clinical question. What is the clinical dilemma that the oncologist is facing, and then we are trying to solve it for them. And I'll show you later how we do it. We launched our first product in the US earlier this year in February. As you can see, we have pretty good traction with leading academic centers, high volume centers all across the country, including academic collaboration with the NIH and the NHS. Those same centers are also collaborating with us on the clinical trial. Clinical data is owned by OncoHost. This is an ongoing prospective clinical trial open at over 41 sites, recruited to date more than 2,000 patients. So really high quality of data supporting the algorithm development. This is not some of those old databases analysis, but really robust clinical information that we can trust. Plasma-based, so we do not require tumor tissue, very important, especially in the metastatic setting, and easily integrated into the clinical workflow as it's a single blood draw taken before treatment. We have a clear lab based in Cary, North Carolina, and permit to sell in all of the newest states. New York is still pending. It's not us, it's them, bureaucracy. Strong IP position, and since it's a platform technology, I will show you that we have a pretty extensive clinical development plan and pipeline for the products. The first product that we launched is Prophet for non-small cell lung cancer. The reason is simple, huge indication, 130,000 new patients a year in the metastatic setting. 80% of them will be treated with immunotherapy first line, and there is a very clear clinical question there that the oncologist is trying to answer. In terms of algorithm development, we have a very robust approach. First of all, I'll show you the results, I believe, in the next slide. Everything we do is based on blinded validation. The algorithm is trained and validated or two completely separated, independent cohorts of patients. So we have one shot at success or failure, but what you see is what you get in terms of the performance, no overfitting for the product. Second, instead of looking for a signature, we developed a new concept called resistance-associated proteins. Those are proteins that are differentially expressed between the responders and the non-responders. We identify those, make sure that what we see is indeed signal and not noise, and then basically for each patient, we measure the number of overexpressed reps. Patients that have a lot of those reps overexpressed are not likely to benefit from treatment, and they will get a Prophet negative report. And patients that have few, if any, will get a Prophet positive report and are likely to benefit from treatment. And when I'm talking about benefit from treatment, it's important to note we are training an algorithm on progression-free survival of over 12 months and not on response rates, again, because it's more important clinically. So let's have a look at the results. So what we see here is basically our prediction versus the actual outcome of the patients. This was our first validation, blinded, 250 patients, first-line naive patients treated with immunotherapy or immunotherapy combined with chemo. As you can see, almost perfect correlation between the prediction and the outcome of the patient with very good p-value. We repeated those in another blinded validation with a cohort of almost 350 patients. Again, very strong performance, very strong correlation of the algorithm in terms of the ability to predict clinical benefit. And the last one, cohort of almost 600 patients, and again, the same performance of the algorithm. Those are three separated blinded validations. The algorithm is very, very stable and performs very, very good. And if we stratify the patients based on the prophet result, we see that patient with prophet positive had median overall survival of 26 months, patient with prophet negative, median overall survival of about 11 months. We are talking about metastatic lung cancer, of course, so we see very clear differentiation. But this is not enough, unfortunately. I mean, many companies would stop here and go to the market, but clinicians want clinical utility. And when you come to a clinician and you give him only bad news, it's not likely that he will use your product, especially if it's before treatment. So clinicians asked us, okay, so how do I use this tool? So what we did next is we combined the prophet result with the PD-L1 level of the patients. As you may recall, PD-L1 is the current biomarker. This is what is approved, this is what we use. And when we do that, we found something very interesting. Patients that are prophet positive and PD-L1 of over 50%, there is basically no difference in overall survival between immunotherapy combined with chemo versus immunotherapy alone. So for those patients, there's no need for chemotherapy. However, patients that are prophet negative and PD-L1 of over 50%, look at the difference between the immuno combined with chemo and the immunotherapy alone. If treated with chemotherapy, this group of patients will basically live 3 times more than if they would be treated with immunotherapy alone. So here you go, very clear, easy to understand, and quickly adaptable tool with clinical utility for the oncologist. And this is a resolution that currently doesn't exist in the clinic. Clinicians do not see that. We do the same for the other PD-L1 levels as well, to the 1 to 49 and below 1%. So basically what we did with our first product, we took the existing guidelines and improved the resolution for the clinicians. Instead of 2 groups of patients, we have 6 with clear recommendation for each group of patients. And the report is very, very simple, because market research told us that we have 10 seconds or less in the clinic. Prophet positive, negative, how positive, how negative given by the prophet score, and then what to do in all 3 situations. So in less than 10 seconds, you can basically recommend something for your patient. Very extensive pipeline, as you can see. We are working on more indications, earlier stages of disease, and some interesting new technologies, not in the scope of this deck, but I'd be happy to discuss them after that. The test is sold in the US as a laboratory-developed test. The list price is $5,000. We have a multi-plan approval rate of $4,000, and we are aiming for a CMS rate of $3,800. This is expected by the end of next year. Very good commercial traction. This is basically the work of one man. Now we have a team of 6 that just started, but over 150 tests sold and very high order rate by the clinician. And we just got approval for our own exclusive PLA code for the prophet. This is going to be effective as of January 24. We executed our first deal with a pharma company, finalized the clinical utility trial. Very cool. 94% of oncologists changed their management based on the prophet in this trial, which I think is pretty unique for a new technology. As I mentioned earlier, we have now results in more indication, and we are going to expand those and take them to the market soon. Strong scientific advisory board supporting the company on the oncology side, on the biology side, and on the data science side, but also a commercial advisory board with leading individuals from the industry to support the process. We are currently raising a safe round of up to $15 million. That should take us to the end of 24, beginning of 25, and then we are planning on a crossover round of a larger amount. I'd be happy to discuss the details of the round later on after the talk. Thank you, I appreciate the time and your active listening.